Hello everyone, Tanak here. Welcome to a special episode that has been requested by viewer about my thought on the mineral redistribution. So as most of you may know, it was announced last week or 2 weeks ago that the mineral are going to be redistributed. Well, it's a resources redistribution update. And what is going to happen is that basically the mineral are going to be redistributed by security status of the system. So you're going to have tritanium in ISEC, isogen and noxium in low, and zydrine, megasite, and morphite in null, and pyrite, the forgotten mineral, is going to be in high and low only. And also coupled with that, you're gonna have a shortage phase. So if you look at the amount that is produced in a single asteroid, or in an amount of asteroid ore, and the amount of mineral that it gets overall, it's gonna come down. So it will affect the prices. It already has affected the prices. Like if you see a tritanium, poof, that was like the announcement of the patch, and you've seen like a straight up from 7.6 to 9.4. So it's like a significant, like almost a 20% increase in the price of tritanium, and you're seeing that across the board in every mineral. Like look at anyone else, and they're all like this. So you're seeing like a huge, I mean, like isogen was super stable, and boom, you got like almost double in price. And even like isogen went from 24 to 56. So it's a huge amount. And I'm thinking the one that are like, if you go Mixelon, which is another low sec one now, well, this one Mixelon, everybody has always like an oversupply of that stuff. So it really depends on, you got to look like on a by mineral basis, but overall across the board prices are going up significantly. What the If you look globally, the amount of mineral will be reduced. So price of mineral going up makes perfect sense. And price of mineral going up mean price of goods going up, because, well, pretty simple. Goods are built with mineral, so if the price of what you need to build go up, the price of the finished good will go up. And you see like an Orca, which was hovering around like more or less 900 mil, is like 1.2 bill. So there is like a big push in the price. And that what I think will happen is that it will continue even more. Is it a good thing? Okay, what do I think about that change? I think that it is good in a way that it will force more interaction between player. More you're gonna have to, you won't be as easily able to be self-sufficient. Okay, you will need to buy more ore, because wherever you're located, you'll need stuff from other places. So it will create a more dynamic economy, and that's actually, I think it's good for the game, because any type of, I mean, what's the strength of Eve? The strength of Eve is the player interaction, the MMORPG part. I mean, if you're just playing to mine solo, Eve is actually not the best game. And there's a lot of game where if you just like mining, that are actually more fun to mine than Eve. Go mine in Elite. It's the mining mechanic in Elite is more fun than Eve. The strength of Eve is the player interaction. and the player interaction are going to be enhanced with that. You're gonna have to depend on other player on goods coming from other part of the galaxy to be able to do your production. So it's this part is a good thing. It is a mixed bag, however, because if you're just a small guy starting out and you want to try industry, well, the barrier of entry is going to be higher, because you won't be able to go mine everything you need and at some point realize, okay, I need Zeidrein, so where can I get Zeidrein? And then you search and then you find out about ore anomaly through that. So I think that for a new player, it might hurt a little bit, but overall for the economy, I think it's great. I think it's a good change. What is going to happen is, is this going to be all trading? That I'm not so sure, because okay, I'll give you just a little bit of the experience that we have here in guns. We're a low ISEC corp operating around here, but we do explore everywhere else. We have actually seen in Genesis big nullsec alliance anchoring structure around here. So they could be just anchoring from jump route, but I think that they're probably already well served in terms of jump routes. So my guess is that the big nullsec alliance are going to actually start to have low sec mining outpost, and I mean, it is doable for them, and they could just extend their capital umbrella all the way to those areas. So I don't think that you're gonna see like a big import of resource from nullsec. They're just gonna extend their reach a little bit into the surrounding low, at least to get access to the low mineral, and probably all the way up to ISEC. Will they go into ISEC? Well, there's no capital umbrella in ISEC, but there's the Concord umbrella. So all in all, I think that you're going to see like more of the big player try to go into the or they're going to use Altcorp or whatever. They already do, but I think that you're going to see more of that. What I think also that it's going to be another nail in the coffin of ISEC industry, because the reality is margin are low in EVE because producing is easy, and a lot of people were self-sufficient. So you could have a guy that was like just enjoying industry. So he go with his mining barge and he mine in ISEC all the time, and he goes to Ore Anomaly, and then he gets some Jaspet, and then he gets some Umber, and he has everything he needs to run his production. So he can produce at an NPC station at even negative margin if he's not calculating and putting stuff on the market. And that person is probably making less money than selling, but he doesn't care because he was self-sufficient. What is going to happen now is that he won't be able to do that anymore, because if he wants to be self-sufficient, he would have to mine low, and he would have to mine null. So he's gonna have, if he wants to produce, he's gonna have to buy ore, and I don't think that that's gonna happen on a large scale. It will happen, but it's not gonna happen on a large scale, because it will basically push the ISEC producer out of the market. So that's like the 1-2 punch is Quantum Core plus this change. It will knock out the ISEC industry, or what was left of it, I think. My personal opinion. I mean, you already know, if you've been watching this for a while, you already know how I feel about ISEC industry. Well, I feel even more like this now. I think that it's gonna finish it. uh, Aside from that, I think that, well, if you got less people producing, it should increase the margin for the other industrial player that are left. So obviously the biggest beneficiary of all that is going to be the null group. Low sec, you can still manage to do something, because low sec you have like you still can have like decently efficient, like you can have a decent efficiency in low. And if you remove the ISEC people producer, you're probably gonna have like better margin still. So that's how I see that the market will evolve. So it's a mixed bag. The way I see it, it's going to be good for globally for the economy. It's going to bring some traffic into low. It's going to push some people that were in high, that they're going to push them to go to low. And then again, these guys will. You have people that, for some reason, they won't join corp. I mean, the game, if you look at the reputation of the game and everything, and I remember, because I was a newbie not too long ago, how long it took me just to join a corp. And I actually didn't join a corp, I started my own. But I mean, a lot of people are kind of afraid to get into a group because there's so many bad story about the and there are like people that are preying on newbie, and you got like assholes that are just wanting a kill and that will camp like a gate here, and just, or any low system next to high, you're gonna have one dickhead there with the cloak tango waiting for a guy with his mining barge. I mean, that's the nature of the game. So that will happen. So these people will, I mean, the best thing for them would be to join a corp and actually learn how to combat those people that are preying on newbie. But the thing is, it's not as easy between people scamming newbie, so I don't know how it's gonna be good for the economy for the established player. Will it be good for integrating new player to the game? Well, it's gonna raise the difficulty of starting out in game. I think. I'm not. Anyway, that's my opinion. And I want to branch a little bit into like what I think are the big problem with industry in general, because everything is about mining. Okay, activity that are rewarding in game are activity that takes active play. Like the entire production supply chain, most of your money will come from mining. You will add a little if you're super good at reprocessing, and you will add a little more with production. But most of your income comes from the active gameplay that you do, and the rest of the chain is kind of badly done. Okay, let's look at reprocessing. Okay, a guy like me, I got like 5 reprocessing efficiency. Let's say I'm refining a Veldspar, I'm at 4. But I mean, any corp like Guns R Us, we got a few people that have 5 in everything, and their implant. In a single character with max reprocessing skill has no cap, no limit on how much he can reprocess. So what is the value of that for a player? I mean, you join a corp, one guy, if you optimize your supply chain, a single person can reprocess for an entire alliance. If you think about it that way, I mean, log in, click on your 5 trillion tons of titanium, reprocess. That's it. There's no limit. and it's fast. So you can do it basically unlimited. So as a player, if you're investing skill point in that because you enjoy it and because you want to play like this, well, are you actually, you're adding value for you as a solo player if you don't want to depend, but as part of a group, not that much, not really. You're probably one of X player, or one of X industrial player that have maxed all these skills. And one of them for like a corp like guns, we don't need to have 5, we need one person that can, and I mean, okay, Bob, we're gonna drop everything in the hangar. Whenever you log in, you just reprocess everything, and that's easy to organize. How I would fix that is I would introduce some type of active gameplay for reprocessing. I wouldn't go by slot like production, because I think a slot brings another problem. I would introduce some type of active gameplay, kind of like the hacking game or the project discovery or whatever. I would put like something that is industrial team type of minigame where you actually have to do something. So that way, as a player that doesn't have max skill, you would still have value, because the time you put in game doing that activity would have value, because a single guy couldn't reprocess for an entire alliance. So having more people that are actually doing reprocessing would have value, because it would be the time invested in game. So that's one change I would do. And for production, the same thing. Today, a single individual with multiple accounts can produce as much as you want. If you don't put a cap on the account, okay, you're capped by build slot. But build slot, you just get another account and you have more build slot and build skill. So, but it's easy to just like fire and forget. I can launch all my build slot in 5 minutes. And so it's all passive play. So it has little value, because it's easy to just scale for a single player. So one person can just spam the market as much as he wants. So what I would do is I would introduce also some type of active gameplay for production job. So again, do it like industrial team, where you have to manage your factory or whatever, and you have to actually like imagine, okay, I got four build slot here. So if I want to fire like, okay, whatever, okay, what job do I have? Okay, like I'm running my capital construction, I'm building my Charon, I'm building my Orca, whatever. Okay, now if I'm building those things, like if every day or every 2 days or whatever, I have to actually actively play the mini game, or if it takes me 15 minutes to launch a build job, then I have to be actively doing industry. So you would naturally reduce the amount of stuff on market, margin would go up, because the people that are actually producing would be the one that are playing the game. You couldn't scale up with just increasing multiple account. Now, would CCP want that? Well, they like people to have multiple accounts because they make more money with that, especially production account, because they're Omega. But I think that would be good for the game, because somebody that is starting up, that wants to play for the industrial part of EVE, which is the fun part of EVE. Well, for many people, at least some people are attracted by that aspect of EVE. They would actually be playing and be contributing, because their time would have value. The time they're refining, the time they're producing would have value. That's one way I would try to fix that thing, to make it more interesting for a new player that start up. Because right now it's build slot and location is not ISEC. And it will take a new bro, depending on the type of character, but people that are crafter in MMORPG aren't at, there's exception, but They're not necessarily the people that will jump into PvP fighting and everything. They're builders, so they want to enjoy the building part. So if you want these guys to be able to contribute, you want these guys to have actually fun doing that part. Well, right now you're gonna, with the new change, you're kind of gonna hurt them a little bit, and you're gonna and you have a very dynamic economy, which is just missing that little tweak here. Another thing that you could do is kind of like the Tucker rig. Is okay, today in game, the best place to build capital component is actually low sec because of the Tucker rig, because it is specialized low sec rig that has bigger bonus than null sec for one specific type of thing. So if you want to go with maximum efficiency, you would build capital component in low, and then move to high and assemble the ship there. So, but okay, then you have to calculate fuel cost. But the idea is there's no monopoly on production in null sec on capital component. So low is at least as good. So maybe introduce some type of rigs that make sense to build an ISEC, where ISEC would have an edge. So maybe you could say, okay, well, ISEC is like a high-tech industry because it's a place where Concord is present. So I don't know, maybe drugs could be made in ISEC or whatever. Like, so find a way for people to actually rig their station there. And maybe and I'm not saying drugs specifically, I'm just like finding a roleplay reason for it. But so maybe you have like specialized production by area. That could be another way to actually give an incentive for people to build like new player that's starting to have something to do, because you won't, as much as you want to say and as much as it makes sense for an experienced player to say, okay, get out of I, because don't stay in I all the time, you're wasting your time with the game. It is a big psychological barrier for a lot of players, and if you want to get, you kind of have to make the path of going from a brand new EVE player to somebody that is not scared to go fight and that is not scared to go into null or to go into I. It takes time. And if you're losing your player after 1 month, and I mean, even in Corp, we're losing player because, I mean, they were, as much as we want to help them or everything, they're just that barrier of crossing, of jumping into low sec to produce. Even if we tell them it's more efficient, they're scared actually. And if you have a Corp helping you out, it's not as bad, but you got a lot of players that are scared. And I mean, let's be honest, here, these system here, you always have a dickhead with a cloak tengu waiting for a mining barge to shoot them. you got people that are actively preying on new player, and that will shoot them just to pad their kill board. And I mean, you can't blame them, it's the nature of the game. But you have to have a way to keep your player in game long enough for them to discover the fun part of EVE. And seriously, having been through that path myself in the past like 9 months, I probably, if it wasn't for having a YouTube channel, and if it wasn't for a few mentor that I had in game that came and helped me and taught me a lot about the game, I would have quit. I mean, if I wasn't, I would have dropped the game, because I would never have. I mean, at some I would never have had the courage to I would have had the courage to anchor in low sec, and my station would have been shot by some guy. And if I didn't have people that came to help me, probably that would have been the end of my my EVE career. And if you want to increase player retention, you got to make them stick long enough for them to actually discover what is great about this game, and that's not easy. So I think that dispatch is good for the game economy for established player. I think it's gonna make it a little bit harder on the new rule. So that are my thought on that patch. I hope you guys enjoy. If you got any comment, if you agree, disagree, leave a like, leave a dislike, leave a comment. I'm pretty active on the comment section. I usually answer everything. So if you want to discuss it, if you want to talk in game, just shoot me a mail, and see you guys Friday for the usual update. Thank you, and bye bye.